Hello and welcome to the One People Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's One People Roundtable. And with myself, Lisa, and Danny over there, and many people in the chat room. So welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you guys. Thank you for being here. This may be
the hilarity has already been ongoing for quite a while, but we decided to finally hit record.
It may take us a minute to get into a groove.
So I have to, I'll talk about, well, you're, caffeinating. I'll talk about the dream I had last night.
Yeah, okay. I heard
because I have
read it.
Okay, really funny because we've had so many dreams coming into the Unfuckers room. Like everyone's talking about these and they're having these really amazing dreams. We've been talking about it since, well, for months now, but especially this last month or so. And I kind of went to bed, it was either last night or the night before, being like, it's been so long since I've had a dream that I can actually remember. Like, I was like, oh, I'd really like to have something that I can remember, something. So anyways, last night I had one of those epic long dreams, the ones that kind of go on all fucking night long. I really remember absolutely nothing, about 99% of it. Except it was the very, very end, just before I woke up. And a woman came to me and she took me to a window. And now I'm looking through the window, but everything around the window is dark. So it's very bright outside. So the room is very, very dark inside. And the woman is, the only way I can describe it is she's Native. She's First Nations, or she's Aborigine, or she's Inuit something. Definitely someone who you would say is of a Native background. And she shows me a waterfall. And it is a big mountain. And the waterfall is massive. Like it's about probably 200 meters wide, rushing water down the mountain. And then she shows me over time that the water starts slowing down until this massive waterfall gets very, very small. So it's falling down the center area into the floodplain, into the river below, but it's now very, very narrow. And then she shows me again where the water starts up again. And as the water starts up again and it starts coming down more and more down the mountain, it hits where the fall would be. But instead of going over where it used to, it breaks off into about 5 or 6 smaller falls. And because it's not falling into the riverbed below, it floods everything below. So then she shows me another part of the window, and the image changes, and I'm looking out over obviously a relatively flat area that's down below in the valley, and it's all flooded, and you can see treetops, and you can see bits of the tops of hills in the background, but it's flooded. And she's telling me about how it had happened, etc. And then she says, I said to her, well, is this an area I would know? Is there any landmarks that I would recognize and know what I was looking at from before? And she said, yes. And she kind of points out the window and points over to one direction. She says, that's where and I can't remember what company she said, but I know it was an aeronautical. So it was either Boeing or Lockheed Martin, etc. She says that's where their plant was. And it's just water. All you can see is just water as far as you can see. So I woke up, and that was the last thing I remember, and I woke up. Got up this morning, and the very first thing I did was go look at the news, which I never do. I always go up in the morning, I go into the Unfuckers room, and I peruse around there, and usually I never go, unless something's come up, I never go looking at the news until usually the afternoon. The first thing I did was open RT. Open RT, the very first thing that comes up is the dam collapsing in California. And I'm just like, what? And it's mass evacuations, imminent flooding is about to happen as this dam, they're expecting it to collapse. And I was just like, no fucking way. That's just too bizarre. And someone pointed out, they said there is in that valley, apparently there is an aeronautical technical company somewhere down. It wasn't one of the big ones, wasn't a name that I recognize, but there is an aeronautical company down in the bottom of that valley. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's just too fucking weird. So that was my little, you know, ask and you shall receive. I guess I wanted a dream that I'd remember, and I got a dream that I remembered. You're muted.
I didn't get to read the accompanying story that you found, but so I don't know what the details are about the dam collapsing. So why is the dam collapsing? Is it?
I haven't followed it. Tracy LaGroche, you've been following it all day.
So it's bursting the banks, so to speak.
There's erosion, too much rain, but then the other thing is, I mean, whenever you have mass drought, when you get too much rain all at once, the topsoil can't absorb it because it's just so baked so hard that the water never sinks into the groundwater. It just literally just washes away.
So it's just the emergency overflow, or is it?
It's the emergency overflow, I think. And California's supposed to get really heavy rains this week as well. So that's one of the things why it's such an emergency. So yeah.
I've not been online for 3 days.
Sorry?
I've essentially not been online for 3 days because
too hot to be in front of a computer?
Too hot. And then yesterday, Monday, I developed my first headache I can't even tell you when. I don't even have the basic paracetamol in the house, Panadol or anything, because I haven't had a headache. And I think it's probably just weather changes because it was so hot. And then yesterday it dropped by more than 10 degrees and, you know, storm front came in and all of that sort of thing. So I'd put it down to that. And yeah, it was just non-compass yesterday. So I have no idea what's going on in the world for 3 days. Except for mine. My own little...
I did a news report that was totally non-political for the most part.
You did?
It was just like, I'm not talking about the fucking politics. Fuck that shit. But here you go. This is because I know you haven't had a chance to watch Conspicuous News. I did. Someone thinks it's a brilliant idea to send some bacteria up to the ISS so that it can mutate faster and grow bigger and stronger. And the bacteria they've chosen to test it is MRSA. Because, you know,
what could go wrong?
What could go, as I said, because it's not like, you know, the Pentagon and the CDC don't have a habit of losing their bacterial samples for things like, you know, Ebola and anthrax. It's not like they lose it all the time, because they do. So I'm just like,
how many times do individuals and companies like that get to fuck up before someone goes, you know, like, you got one job.
You're not allowed to play anymore. Go sit on the bench.
Okay, for what reason are they giving?
The reason is so they can study how it mutates, so they can come up with better drugs to treat it. The largest, fastest mutating bacteria on the fucking planet that kills more people than AIDS, homicide, and what was the third one? Heart disease combined a year in the US. It is already rampant in all the hospitals. Let's just send it up to space and see if we can make it mutate.
So send it up to space where it'll be in conditions where it won't be on Earth. Anyway, and let's see what it does in an environment that it won't. What? I'm sorry. What did I miss?
Well, the giggle on it is they make a statement about the fact of they're going to send it to low gravity, not no gravity, low gravity. I'm like, well, outer space is supposed to be no gravity. So where are they going where it's low gravity and in a low radiation area? I'm like, wait, isn't that what NASA keeps telling us? There's so much radiation in outer space. It's just so fucking dangerous. So where's this low gravity, low radiation area that they're sending the bacteria to? Because I ain't buying it.
Oh, the flat earthers are going to love this.
There's just no words. Oh. And the state of Illinois has just officially declared October 2017 to be the official Zombie Preparedness Month. The inaugural Zombie Preparedness Month. October 2017 in Illinois. Yeah. So, of course, I had to go into my, all my zombie shtick and CDC. And I shit you not, Lorna, yes. Illinois has just declared October 2017 the inaugural Zombie Preparedness Month. And the spokesman makes a comment. He goes, well, I've been told that if we did it like a zombie preparedness, that it would help people get prepared for earthquakes and maybe tornadoes. And as I like to point out, zombie preparedness means people store baseball bats and machetes, axes, which aren't going to do you a hell of a lot of good in an earthquake or a tornado. So, not sure where they're going with that. But I have a whole pile of zombie preparedness kit decals and ridiculousness that I did up in 2011 when the CDC released their Zombie Preparedness 101. I may have to bring those back up and turn them into t-shirts because, zombie apocalypse. It's a thing.
Okay, well, none of this is happening in my reality.
But it's so much fun to take the piss out of.
Oh, it's too funny. We need that island quick. Someone said, yeah. That whole construct is just getting. It's a Marvel comic, isn't it?
Listen, I haven't. This is going to end up coming into my next Transpicuous News. In the same weekend that a mainstream media outlet newspaper posts a picture of one of the Baldwins on Saturday Night Live dressed up as Trump. Instead of posting a picture of Trump, they made an oops and posted a picture of Baldwin in Saturday Night Live skit dressed as Trump. What was the other one? And in some tennis championship in the States, instead of playing the German national anthem for the German tennis star, they played the Nazi anthem. I shit you. You should see the picture of the tennis player. She's like, oh! You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up.
I don't know whether to laugh or.
Thank you, Tom. There you go, Tom. Tom's already dropped the link in for everyone. The Nazi version of the national anthem played at the tennis tournament. And yeah, you should see the picture of the poor girl's face when they started playing.
Well, like you just said, that's not an accident. You don't do that by accident.
But this is all over the place. I'm watching this kind of ridiculous bullshit. Like the Pentagon posting a picture, a video, to try and defend their airstrike in Yemen that killed all the people in the hospital. And the video is 10 years old. That was last week. The Pentagon released a piece of video to try and, absolve themselves and explain why they bombed a hospital in Yemen with video that was 10 years old.
What?
You want transparency? Mainstream media is showing you all their fucking underwear collection. Let me tell you. Dirty underwear collection, actually.
Ew. Oh God, that gives me visuals on it. Yeah, skid marks, said Gina. Yeah, exactly.
Seriously.
Oh yeah, that's visuals you don't need to.
There's the news for you today. That's all that the mainstream media is putting out. I actually went through today because after seeing this bit about the dam that was the overflow dam in California, and everyone in the Unfuckers room said there was no mainstream media coverage, so I went looking. And I haven't even gone to like a mainstream media like CNN or MSNBC. I haven't been to those sites in like months. Like, unless I'm hunting a story, I never go there. I went and scrolled through them. There's nothing in them. There's nothing in them. Like, the news is just, that's all this ridiculous crud. Yeah, ridiculous. Completely.
I did a post. I'm just trying to find out when it was. In the UU room. I just want to get my days straight.
Straighten yourself up, Jack. You can figure it out. Which post was it?
Expect some Mandela Effects. Okay, so this was 7th.
Tuesday.
So that was after
last Tuesday?
Week's show. After last week's show. Yes, okay.
Yeah, the Tuesday. Tuesday after the show. My Tuesday after the show.
Okay, so last week we talked about the veil process. So I guess it was an extension of our waking up. You just woke up show, right? It was like part 2 in a way. And then I had a very interesting day after that. Because we spent the day talking about the waiting room, so to speak, that energetic space that some feel we've moved into. And I talked about how it felt like I was alone in this room. And over the course of the week, what became clear for me was that everyone seems to have their own. It's not like we're all gathering in one space. It's like this is an inside internal personal job, and we each have our own little waiting room, right? But a couple of hours after the show, and I know this is like this is not literal, right? This is all just analogy and metaphor for that makes sense to me to explain certain things.
How you perceive it.
Yeah. There was a flurry at the door, so to speak. And all these people walked in or came screaming in. So I knew something had happened, and I kind of got pushed along my room. You're frozen for me, Dee, so does that mean I'm frozen? Or is it just Dee? No, both are fine. Just Dee. Okay. Dee must be because she's not saying anything.
No, I just was muting out.
Oh. I kind of got pushed along. I can't remember whether I said it last week or not, but it was like this, and it started to transform into a hallway. Did I say that? And like this sort of stretching out to a right.
Yep.
So all these people come in from the left, and I get moved along a little bit. And then now everyone's gone, but I'm sort of back to my own little personal space. And I said, expect to see some another rash of Mandela effects. And we had a bunch. More pop culture things. Who's a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan here? Or was? In the song.
Angels.
It's Angels.
City of Angels. Yeah. Plural. City of Angels.
Well, it's got now. City of Angel, which makes no sense.
City of Angel makes 0 sense.
What else was there?
What, Blair?
What's Blair?
Blair just said mega death, D-E-A-T-H, is now mega death,
Oh,
D-E-T-H.
That one, there's been another, whether it was the same one, but there's been another Mandela effect in relationship to Megadeth as well, the spelling of their name. And those ships, we haven't talked about those ships, the razzle-dazzle ships.
Yeah, now that was a few weeks ago that came up.
Yeah, I know, but we
with these World War II ships all painted in like fucking psychedelic patterns and all the rest of it. It was like, did not happen in my reality. No, never.
The rainbow lobster, rainbow trees. Have you got a photo of those ships at all?
Tom, can you find us a photo of the, what do they call them? They call them the dazzle ships. Dazzle ships.
The praying mantis with the dragon tail. Someone said that was a bit of CGI though. Is that true?
I don't know. And the orange alligator that showed up in one of the Carolinas, that's a one-off. That's not like a new breed that suddenly appeared. It literally is a one-off. Someone discovered an orange alligator, and I can't remember if it was North Carolina or South Carolina. But that, again, apparently that's a one-off. It wasn't just
caused by iron in the water.
Like a new breed suddenly.
I got the razzle dazzle ships if you want me to screen share it.
Just drop it. Here we go. Hold on. Tom's got the link right here. I can pull it up and I can.
Cool. Good stuff. Thanks.
Thanks, love. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Hey, I got it. This is just freaking ridiculous. Screen share. Okay, so here's our razzle dazzle ships. Yeah. No. No. Definitely fucking not. No. Like, no. 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 No.
They were in your timeline, Phil.
I mean, to me, when I saw these, my brain, it was like the little twig inside your head goes, and you go, you've got to be kidding. No. In my timeline, like, it did not happen.
Okay, so
I mean,
there was a few
patterns.
People who've seen these. There's a few people who've seen these growing up. 2.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is what we always talk about when we're dealing with Mandela effects. When I say no, not in my reality, I just mean my reality. Right? It doesn't mean that this timeline, dimension, space, reality, it didn't happen. I'm just saying, like, where I'm from, no. No, that one's kind of funky, though. Okay, now that one's actually kind of trippy. That one is actually kind of trippy.
I don't understand how these things have the effect of camouflage.
No, exactly. Like,
in water.
Yeah.
What am I missing? Do I not understand the definition of camouflage?
I read a couple of articles where they were talking about all this kind of shit, and I'm like, what? No.
In a rainbow world.
Radar. Yeah, in a rainbow world. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is, like I said, definitely not in the reality.
I need more coffee. I will mute, but I will be still listening. And okay. Would love for the Mandela effects that have come out in the last week. What else can you guys remember?
There was a couple more animals. That came up, and I'm just, I can't remember. We talked about last week the fake killer whale dolphin. what? And the vampire animals. Okay. And I did not go look because I literally was just like, no, not even going to look. Just not even going to look. It was like the vampire squirrel, and what was the other one? The vampire deer? Was that it? A vampire deer, and it had freaking cute little teeny deer with the freaking fangs. Did not happen in my reality. Like, sorry. It just, I haven't looked into these, so I have no idea if it's just spoof or what. But yeah, this whole fake killer whale dolphin, no. The things are the most bizarre looking things. Yeah, no. Yeah, the round-nosed dolphin with the round face. That's what they call the fake killer whale dolphin or something like that. I want to try to see. Now, the whole thing about the chicken, like, so someone posted a picture of a completely all black chicken. I mean, completely black. The one thing I've learned in my travels, especially over the last year, there are some really, really fucking weird chickens out there. I have seen chickens in the last year that I have never seen the likes of before, ever. I mean, we were just, when we got here this summer to Malta, they do like a little farmers market fair type thing in September, October. And chickens is one of the things they do have all the prizes for them. And there was chickens there that I was just like, okay, you're just too weird to be from this planet. It's all right. Too weird. No, not lemon chicken. Come on, guys. Orange chicken, chili chicken. Yeah, no. It's not what we're talking about. No, there's been some weird shit this week. There's been some really interesting weird shit this week. Now, the one thing that came up, and it was discussed in the Unfocus room by several people, is the whales that beached themselves in New Zealand. There were two big pods of whales that beached themselves in New Zealand this week. One was, I think, 300. The other one was, or one was 400. One was, it was well over 600 whales in total that died this week in New Zealand. And everyone's talking about, oh, they're talking about Fukushima, and there's all of this kind of stuff. But the one thing I wanted to bring up is whales use an internal GPS, which also is highly and strongly affected by magnetics. So if this week we had some real fuckery, which it seems that there was some weird shit kind of going on, and the magnetics of the planet were affected in some way, whether it was a cause or an effect, however you want to look at it, is that the reason why the whales beached themselves? I mean, I've discussed this on multiple occasions, even some of the things that we've seen ourselves in the coastal waters off of Morocco, that you see sea life literally swimming onto the shore and trying to rescue them and taking them back out to the waters again. Octopi, the big, what are they called? Sunfish that we saw. Trying to get them back out, and they just keep swimming right back into shore. It's like their GPS is saying, no, I got to go that way. I've got to go that way. And you can't stop them because they just keep coming back and swimming right back into shore. So I don't know. This is another piece that I'm really looking into with the whole magnetics thing again.
It was another big week for people going sideways. The big,
yeah.
If the feeling is accurate, most Mandela effects from the past have been the result of two timelines merging. And if the feeling of over the last week is accurate, what caused this flurry of activity could be as many as 8 to 12. The last ones, like, just all coming all coming down. And there was something, there was something that came up yesterday or the day before.
Oh.
That was like the third or fourth version of an event that I've heard.
Do you remember what it was?
No. It'll hit me in a second, I hope.
Okay, well, here's the other one, and I talked about this last week, back in November, and I did a post about it, and then in the Unfocus room to get, like, is this happening to anyone else? Menstrual cycles.
Yep.
And we had that huge amount of back in November, and it was insane, the amount of people. The exact same thing happened last week, over the course of that leading into last week. We had, at the last I counted, there was 5 women who had had hysterectomies, who had every single symptom of having their period, cramping, the skin breakouts, you name it, even though they had had hysterectomies. There were women who had, in menopause, who were going through the exact same thing, who hadn't had a period in months, years in some cases, were going through the same kind of stuff. People getting their periods way early or way late. It was another, and that was the kind of lead up into it. I had the one day, I was joking with you that one of the days last weekend, I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday, where I had 2 times in a row in the evening, went sideways. And I mean, actually physically started falling sideways. And Nick was howling, laughing at me. Like at one point, he actually had to reach out and catch me because I started going sideways and I couldn't catch myself. You start sidestepping to try and catch yourself. And I thought I was going to fall over because everything went sideways that heavily that I completely was falling.
There's also been a few stories from people who are saying nothing's synchronized anymore. So clock, computer, phone, all the stuff in the house that's got a clock on it, the oven, everything that used to be all synchronized is all out of whack.
Yep. And not just that, atomic clocks. There was 2 different people who posted the fact who had atomic clocks, who said their atomic clocks are now reading off from what they should be. Sorry?
The NORAD clock. Someone's got a NORAD clock, which is a day behind now.
What?
Something like that. I saw NORAD written there. NORAD clock. Now I've missed it.
Yeah, weird time anomalies, like as in just those moments where just time just doesn't feel right. We had, I just went and checked tonight because I'm looking for moonrise. Because the moon, and our moon rose in the completely wrong spot, which was really, really funny. And I could not get a picture of it either. But like, can you fix, hold on, guys.
Atomic clocks are supposed to be accurate to a second.
Yeah, it's my blinds are going, am I opening or closing? Hold on. Other straight, I've got the window open and the wind's blowing the blinds everywhere. The moon always rises from where I sit out of the sea. I've talked about this on shows before. So I'm waiting for the moon to come up, and I'm waiting for the moon to come up. So I finally came inside at one point. I was like, fuck this, and I actually Googled, what time is the moon supposed to rise in Malta? And it says it's supposed to rise at 8:18. It's like 8:35. There's no fucking moon. So I go back outside, and I say to Nick, where's the fucking moon? And he goes, well, it's over there. It's right there. It's coming up over the hill. Bright orange, I might add, like screaming like someone put a tangerine in the sky again. And it's rising over the Shada Hill. And not just at the edge, but it's off. It's kind of like if the moon should be rising here, the moon was rising over here, over the edge of a hill. And just 2 nights ago, we'd had my girlfriend over taking pictures of the moon because we had a really cool full moon. And where we had to stand on the balcony to just get the camera just right to be able to capture the moon around the edge of the wall of the balcony. Now the moon's over here. And apparently rose 12 minutes late.
Glitch.
I'm going to get pulled over for drunken driving of the moon. That's what it is.
Yeah, well, things are getting a bit messed up on that side of the tech. So,
weird tech issues
if
all week.
you've had another
Weird tech.
flurry of Mandela effects, if you've had the dizzies again, if you've gone sideways in some way, shape or form in the last week, you're not alone. It was felt by a lot of people. And it does appear that we had multiple timeline merges. And just, I don't know, for me, I get excited now when I see shit like that because it means we're moving. We're still moving. We're moving forward. Things are happening. It doesn't freak me out. It's just confirmation. Although when it happens in your personal life or when it happens in your vision, you know, and you literally see a wave go through your vision and then something's fundamentally changed, I realize that can be freaky. What, you had that?
I had that happen again just 2 days ago with the sky, where I sat there and was just staring, having a smoke, staring out at the sky and just watched the waves. And they were going, it wasn't one, it was like multiple waves going across the sky. Like a heat shimmer, except it was going sideways.
I've seen lots of heat shimmers too lately, but I'm going to put that down to heat.
Yeah, but yours are real. Yours are actual heat shimmers because 50 degrees, you know. Oh, and I caught a photo. We went out for a walk yesterday. And we had 10 days of solid chemtrails, and then we had 2 days with no chemtrails. It was like, oh, finally they're done. And then as we're walking out in the fields, fucking chemtrail planes start going overhead. And I saw something I've never, ever seen before. And I put the pictures in the UU room, and I'll post them with this. You look up, and so we're out in the field in the valley. So you got this broad, expansive sky above you to look at. Nothing in your way at all. And there's a chemtrail plane flying across the sky, except that he looks like the chemtrail plane is flying on a track, because there's a line ahead of the chemtrail plane that's like a dark line, and then there's the chemtrail plane flying along the line. Perfectly. We watched it go right across the sky. Just watched it go right across the sky, and it never wavered from within that line. Exact same line. Just it was like a dark line across the sky.
2 other people have seen the same thing.
And I've seen a lot of chemtrails. I've never seen, and I've seen the dark chemtrails that people talk about, black chemtrails. This was bizarre though. It was literally as if the plane was flying along the track.
You're muted now, Maria. I couldn't mute you either. I don't know what that was about. What is it, like a paint by numbers? They've got to colour it in? How are the lines getting there? What are the lines? Where are they coming from? These are many more questions I have.
Just more questions that we ask on this show. What the fuck are you doing? Is one question.
Okay. So you're not alone. People have seen it.
Yeah. For me, it was a new one. I'd never seen anything like that. And it came up perfectly clear in the photos too. Like really nice, clear, like you can see the dark line, and the plane is flying just right across that line.
Oh, there's Maria's also saying there was another picture of the sky with like the line down the middle, light and dark. And Dee and I have seen that with our own eyes as well. We've even turned the cameras around so we could show you guys because it was happening in real time on the show.
Yeah, that was like in April or May, I think.
And I've seen it myself a couple of times. It's very odd. There's also been, and now how accurate this is, or is this more of the, you know, distract everybody's attention to Antarctica stuff, but there's a bunch of information now saying that all the elite are buying up land and making, you know, emergency plans to evacuate, again, to New Zealand. So have you heard that one?
Yeah, I heard that one. I didn't see any backup to that. There was no proof that I could find. I went looking briefly and was like, yeah, no, sorry.
And it's getting interesting in the, well, it's always been interesting, but it's getting more so and a little bit bizarre in the whole alternative media world, from what I can see and feel. I want to ask a question. For those of you who have gone down this road, this particular rabbit hole, which is a nasty one, and I'm going to kind of ask some hard questions because I think we need to try and calmly, ooh, somebody knows what I'm about to do, and objectively look at some things. I've watched certain whistleblowers come out of what's called the secret soldier or super soldier or, you know, MK Ultra, all that. And I'm seeing a pattern. And the women in the audience who've gone down this road are the ones I really need to ask to take a deep breath and take a step back. When Max Spears came out, for example, lovely, he seemed like a lovely guy. He seemed like a very fractured guy and a very fragile and damaged guy. But he seemed like his heart was in the right place. But what I could not fathom was people's response, especially women's. It was, women were falling all over him. They were in love with him. They wanted to save him. They were his biggest defenders. And I'm like, okay, he's a nice guy, and he seems like he's trying to help, but I didn't understand the intensity of, no, it's not just, isn't that what women do? It was beyond that. Mm. And then you've got this other character, Z, who's on CCN. You've got all Teles, and I'm seeing a pattern. And it's, for all the women out there who have ever had a narcissistic, slightly psychotic boyfriend, you might see the same kind of thing, which is lots of charm and intelligence, lots of connection, lots of make you feel special. Perhaps if the damage thing is in there too, then you're the one who can save them. It's only you. And then when they've got you, it becomes abusive very quickly. Now, I'm not saying that about Max, because I have no idea in terms of whether he turned on anybody at all. But there seems to be a particular program running through some of this. So for women, I'm just putting a warning out. If you're going to go looking at any of this stuff and any of these people, be mindful of your response to them and your reaction to them and your, because there's something going on. I don't know what it is exactly, but there does appear to be a program running there. And I'm not even saying they're aware of it, right? But if you have a look at these super soldiers, and many more than the three I've just mentioned, there's a female groupie thing going on with them as well, like as an expression of this. It's really, even with Wilcock to some degree, right? But he's in a complete.
Oh yes, he has his, yeah.
I wouldn't put him in the same basket, but there's something that is very, and it's not just a fan club, it's something more than that too. These women are genuinely affected.
So is this something that we'll play the whole they game? We know that they like the whole occult polarity stuff, right? So the harvesting of feminine energy, so you draw it into set certain, I don't know, energetic, certain pieces in motion that are deliberately designed to draw that in. I don't know.
I don't know. But I can't tell you, it's not, I can't tell you how many women, because there's been so many. And about the three that I mentioned and others who've used the same words in response to these people. There's
I've got it, Lisa.
there's an intimacy. I almost feel like they're talking to them personally in an intimate way. So all I'm saying is just be mindful of your response. And if you're finding yourself feeling any of the things that I've just said, then have a look at it, please.
Okay, so I want to put a question out there, because I really agree with you on this, Lisa. Like, there's something more to this. But let's turn it around. There's not a lot of female examples out there. Not as many as there are obviously male.
There's
like
only one I can think of, which is
what?
There's only one I can think of, which is Teal. What's her name? Teal Scott. Teal
Swan.
One Scott. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, any of these? But I mean, there's been a few that have come out. Have been ex-Illuminati, ex-MK Ultra, et cetera, and they've come out and they've told their stories, etc. Has there been? Do the guys feel there's any kind of a reaction, a similar reaction?
Well, apparently she's got a groupie of men who follow her around and protect her and all of that sort of stuff as well.
Interesting.
Lara Croft.
Wait, now we're talking about Tomb Raider? Wait, I'm lost.
If only the world knew.
But the question I'm asking myself, I'm wondering whether or not the Super Soldier program, and when I say nothing more than, I don't mean to belittle it at all, because it's still horrific and traumatic. But what if it is taking people, fracturing them through trauma, and then inserting all of those memories? What if they are all false memories? Then they put them to sleep, and then they wake them up, trigger them years later to remember these memories that never really happened. They think they've been
complete mind profiling.
They think they've been involved in these, what's the word? All of these endeavors, all of these projects, all of these programs, all of these, you know, and they think they've seen it all because they have these memories. But what if it's all false memories? I mean, it's still as traumatic to the person.
Oh, absolutely.
Still is
Not
really
even a question.
It's still, but all I keep seeing and feeling is that, and I've been feeling this for such a long time, that if they, proverbial they, could do a fraction of what they say they can do with the technology they say they have and the means with which they think they have, they'd have done it. They always do whatever they're doing from what I
That's the one. That is the one piece that I keep coming back to, Lisa, and it is the one question, statement, whatever you want to call it, that you and I have been saying for fucking years now. And when all these stories come out, and when we hear about certain things, it's like, okay, if these guys have the technology to be able to do that, the whole entire earth should be just completely enslaved and, you know, mind wiped in the whole bit. That is one of the reasons, it's one of those pieces that doesn't fit in the puzzle to me. Because if you've got the technology to do all of these things that purportedly they can do, why haven't they used it? To its full, to the extent that they should have been able to have used it for. And if they haven't done it yet, I'm sorry, it's because they can't. That's I keep coming back to this all the time, saying World War III ain't happening because they can't. They've tried and tried and tried and tried, and it's not happening. And there's all these, to all these different levels, it's not happening. Which just tells me that they can't do it for whatever reason. Well, for whatever the reason is, they just can't.
Look at where we know they do pretty much run things and where they claim they run things. So we know they run mainstream media. We know they might run most of the alternative media. We know they run. So a lot of what we get told or gets leaked, is allowed to. So we've got all these whistleblowers. I know people who have been killed locally here in Australia because they figured out how to run the car on water. So why are people being allowed to name names and tell such insider information and give away so much and be allowed to? People are killed for less. So there's that, which always makes me go, what? There's where we know they've got control, we see it. Where they claim to have control, we don't necessarily. I'm not talking about, I'm specifically talking about the super soldier program stuff. Yes, he was. Max was killed. And I have a feeling Max went off script. And that's why. But that's just my feeling on it.
So here's the thing. I want to further to this because you brought up the whole thing about, you know, whistleblowers, etc. So we have Assange, right? And now the whole WikiLeaks Vault 7. And that's all anyone's talking about in alternative media. What's Vault 7? Who's Vault 7? Where's Vault 7? Blah, 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 blah. And a picture of the seed vault.
And where's Vault 7?
In a place that I can't pronounce the name of. way, way, way up, northern Norway. And I just sat there. Now everyone's been sending me the information. Everyone's, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think the secret's going to be? I said, secret's going to be a piece of shit that we already know. But they've played this wonderful, masterful game this week of keeping everyone distracted. And I just keep going, what are they distracting us from? What? Well, everyone's sitting here talking about fucking Seed Vault 7 or Vault 7 or whatever the fuck. What the fuck else is going on? Because that's all the alternative media has been talking about pretty much for the entire week.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that none of the satanic stuff isn't happening, or the pedophilia isn't happening, or the sex trade isn't.
No, that's not what we're saying.
Or the ritual abuse. No, I'm not trying to say any of that. I'm talking about the real super soldier stuff. That we've got this technology and we control.
Yeah, like Mars jump rooms and going to other planets.
All that
secret space programs and portals that they're using to go here and up to the moon, and then they're off to Mars, and then they're this, you know, even I'm sorry,
and the stuff that all
Project Looking Glass, things like that. And I sit there and go, okay, you know, you can look at things like, okay, Project Looking into the future, and maybe that's how the Mandela Effect happened, is because they've somehow gone and changed the past or changed things, and that's why we've got all these timeline split things happening. But still, if you had the ability to do that, wouldn't you do something a little more dramatic to ensure that you got exactly what you wanted?
There's just something that doesn't add up in about all of this for me.
No, it just doesn't add up. Some of it. And Lisa and I discussed this last week about the whole idea of you can program, if you can mind control people enough to make them purportedly forget their past, then you can mind control people purportedly to create their past.
Oh, totally.
And the mind makes it real, right? I mean, this whole, we know MK Ultra shit is real. We know all these torture methods. We know all this. We know this shit is real. Combine it all together. Could you not create all of this up? And it would be completely real to the person it was done to.
Absolutely. I believe. Yeah, possible. You can insert memories, yes.
Yeah. I mean, we see people do that with just Las Vegas style hypnosis. They can do that kind of shit. Jay Gray, yeah, I think so. Jay Gray just said, are we saying they're not as good and as they say they are? I have this doubt. Are they as good as what they say they are? Like, there's all this alternative media that comes out talking about all this and this and this and this and this and this, but okay, if we're the creators, if they get us to be convinced that the story is real, does that make it real?
Yeah, probably, yes.
Okay, so is that part of it?
Take this in context of what we've been talking about for months now with the whole layers peeling back, seeing the technology that creates the layer above, all of that. So maybe 6 or 7 layers ago, it was real. But now we're down here at the layer where it was created through thought form, through us creating it. So we get fed the information that they can do these things and have this technology and all of that so that we can create it for the next level. So we've been working our way back, right? And just as technology has been exposed to us, and the way I've looked at it, it's like every time we've dropped down a level, we've seen new technology, alternative technology that may well have participated in creating the level above, so to speak. Well, that
Okay, hold on. Someone just made a really good comment. I'm trying to, the chat's going so damn fast, I can't find it now. Hold on.
if you're looking, I'll keep finishing my thought. If that's true,
Yeah.
then that would not just be for the physical technology that they created, but if we are the creators, if all they can do is play with our scripts, that would also involve getting us into a certain belief system and a certain set of thinking in order to create also what goes into the next one. Something like that.
Okay. Maury just said, remember, isn't that a watchword around here? Of course it is. That stuff that Lisa and Danny are talking about is effective only on the bots, the clones, and the what have you. It used to be effective on us as well, but not anymore. So, because when you were talking about going down the layers, it didn't quite, you were saying how you get down to this layer of that their technology doesn't exist, etc. I don't think it's perhaps that's true as it is, it just doesn't, it can't work on us anymore. The people who are real, that technology has no effect anymore.
And to the unprogrammed in the chat room, how is it that we are the creators just because you say so? No, if that hasn't shown up for you in your own life, and if you don't know that for yourself, then I don't know what to say to you. But everything tells me that. Yeah, something isn't, you know, we're not in Kansas anymore. We know that, right?
They're definitely not in fucking
Better
Kansas
jumped the
anymore.
fence a long time ago. And
Lisa, I'll be back in 1 second.
okay.
Okay, well, 1 minute.
To try and explain a little bit about where things have, or how things have evolved from last week in regards to the whole waiting room thing. About 3 days ago, Saturday, I think, things shifted again for me. And I can't even explain energetically where I'm at right now. I don't have a descriptor like the waiting room for it. But it's changed. And I feel like I'm seeing things from yet a different perspective. And so much of what I see in the construct feels less valid, no, not valid, but less tangible, lack of substance. No, it's not that it's not important, it's that it's not as solid as it was, so to speak. It's not as, it doesn't have the substance it does from a different description, from a different perspective. Not as solid. Things that seemed very, very real just a few months ago. Oh, okay, thank you, Jay Gray. It's more transparent, I guess, in a way. But I'm watching except for the last 3 days, obviously. I'm watching what's happening with a lot of this information that's coming out. And I've already said I just don't trust the whole official whistleblower thing. It's a controlled, distorted narrative as far as I'm concerned. But there's something else going on here. And things are not adding up more and more. The holographic malleable, programmable nature of the construct is becoming more and more apparent, I think, is the best way to explain it, even though it's probably not a very good one. There's a...
Can I jump in?
Yeah. Did you hear what I said?
It's less concrete and it's more malleable.
Yeah, that's the word I just used, malleable.
Oh, did you? Let's see, I didn't hear you use that word.
And programmable.
Mm-hmm.
I think from where I'm sitting and energetically, it does feel like, and I want to know, for those of you who felt like you got into the waiting room, that you're in that space, has it evolved? Has it changed? And has your relationship to the construct changed? And okay, there's a few yeses there. That's quite a few yeses there. Okay, so the way I described it last week was that the construct, I could feel it through the membrane on my left. And that I was in this room, the white room, and then that white room kind of morphed into a long hallway. Well, the walls aren't there anymore. I'm not feeling the boundaries. Okay, it doesn't feel like a box anymore. It almost feels like I'm back in the construct, but I'm in a bubble. Something like that. Okay, I'm getting lots of yeses. So I'm in it, but I'm not in it. But it's different to having it over there and observing it. Something has changed. And I feel like my ability to affect it has changed. Can you walk in it, Lisa? No. Everything is more fluid. Yeah, something has changed. And
something changed, but there's a feeling. I wish I could describe it as well. I don't have words to describe it. I've been in this really interesting place personally for the last few days. I've been really, really positive and really, really up and just really enjoying all kinds of little things and just things within my bubble, the people within my bubble feel real to me. There's a deeper, I don't know, how do you describe it? It's like a deeper level of caring, a deeper level of, not even caring, genuine. Tracy, that might be the word I want to use. But the external, like the stuff outside of my immediate, has become just so, it's like a movie. It just doesn't affect me. It's out there. It's like it's not within my bubble. It's totally out there, and it's not. I don't know. I wish I had words. Apparently, I don't English today. Tara, that's not a bad way of looking at it. If I can't reach out and touch it, it's not worth grabbing. And that's kind of the stuff that's, to me, this close. Do you know what I'm saying? Is about all the other stuff. And it's kind of like the people I interact with every day.
Someone gave me, I can't remember who,
Validity.
a description for how they see it outside. So imagine concentric circles, right? So let's say you've got the construct in the center, and each of us individually in our own time popping outside of it into our own waiting room, whatever, which morphs into a bubble, which, you know, is probably going to morph again. And it's creating a ring around the central one. And once enough people are in there, in that space, they will join up, right, and create a ring around the central. But it is like,
the chat room is going so fucking fast right now. I'm trying to keep up, but the chat room is just like flying off. I've got the screen expanded as big out as I can make it, and I still can't keep up with everyone. You know, kind of like the Russian doll thing.
Oh, okay. I haven't shared this, I don't think, with you guys yet. I think it was only done in the LMH members group. Because it was, I'm sure it was after the show. So last week, it was either Tuesday night after this gathering, or it was Wednesday night. I can't remember. So I went to go to bed. Oh, now I've lost the sequence, the order in which it happened in. Yes, okay. Tuesday night, I went to go to bed. I was still awake. All I did was close my eyes. I just got into bed, closed my eyes. My vision, the room was very dark. Behind my eyelids.
Oh, your window?
Yeah. And this shape just pops into my vision, and it looked like it was as if I was looking at it from a distance. It was a ways off. But when it popped into my vision, it looked like it was something sitting on a window ledge. And it was like a ledge arch, like an old castle window, right? Deep ledge. And it was off there in the distance of my vision. And I'm looking at it, and it's this electric blue and white and sparkly, and my first thought, when it started to take shape, I thought it was a bloody big Draco, right? And I'm like, no, there's no way. You're not in there. You don't exist in this space. I'm in my little white room where there's none of that shit. Where did you come from? How did you get here? And then it started to take form a little bit more, and then it took off and it flew. And as it did that, I realized it was a dragon, but it was a very childlike, cartoonish looking dragon from a kid's cartoon. And it just sort of flew off and went that way. And I went, oh, cool, dragon. And as soon as it took off that way, it popped back into the window. And then it flew off again. And then it popped back into the window. I did it 3 times. And then the next night, it was one of those magical nights outside. Really hot, so it was nice to be outside, at least there was a breeze. And I was playing some music, and I ran downstairs, and as I was coming back up the stairs, there was a voice coming out of my computer, and it said something sending now, I think, or transmitting now. And then on, I think it was Friday, we were having the LMH members call, and just prior to the call, 10 minutes before the call, my computer repeated, the dragons are coming, the dragons are coming, the dragons are coming, the dragons are coming. And it was like on repeat for, I don't know how many times it said it, 10, 15 times. The dragons are coming, the dragons are coming. So I quickly because we were due to do the call anyway. So I quickly opened the Zoom room and pressed record. And the second I did that, it stopped.
It stopped.
And Maria, your iPhone camera is on, so I'm just going to try and turn it off for you.
I'm trying to find her as well.
No.
Got it? Okay.
So that was weird. A vision of a dragon, and then my computer telling me dragons are coming. And there was one other dragon connection, but I can't remember what it was now. Can anybody in the members remember what it was? People are having visions and dreams of dragons. This is new. I mean, when I say new, over the last few months. But I've never gone through a period in my life where suddenly everyone's talking about dragons. That's all right, Maria, don't worry about it. And was there anything I missed out? Was there anything I forgot? For those of you who were on those calls?
Tracy just said, my daughter says she dreams of dragons every night. And Kale's on about the dragons again. My youngest. He's been talking about the dragons again.
And you can't, yeah, and Aaron, you can't go past the dragons in Game of Thrones. Why do dragons play such a big part in that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think that's all. I need to make more coffee. I'll be back.
Interesting stuff. I'm telling you. No, this last week has been kind of a strange one. It was like, for me, there was kind of all kinds of newness to the week. Newness, not in the physicality, but just in my perception, maybe? I don't know. Just interesting stuff this week, and just interesting little triggers as far as looking at things in a new light and revisiting old things. Taking an interest in some of the old things for me. Some of the old stuff that I used to get into a lot, and all of a sudden it seems I have the pull to kind of relook at some of those old topics again. Not from a research point of view, but just almost like a checking into it. Like, okay, so how is this morphed? What kind of changes have happened? What's the latest in these areas? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the dream last night with the window as well, as someone said. Lisa dreaming a window or seeing windows, and me dreaming with the windows. Yeah, very, very interesting. Because I haven't had a dream that I remember. The only thing I do remember about the dream beyond the waterfall was that I was traveling. That's the only thing I can remember, is the fact that I was traveling somewhere, like the whole family, and we were traveling and moving around, and that's the only basic behind of it thought that I can remember of it. No details. I don't know, it's been really weird. Yeah, so what does windows mean in a dream? I don't know. There feels like there's a newness to this week. And apparently I'm not Englishing very well at all either. But, pardon me, there's a fresh start newness. Does that make sense? Kind of like something fresh is afoot, something new, and I don't know.
What's new? What's afoot?
I don't know. It feels like almost like a fresh start this week. And I can't even put that into better words than that, but there's like, I have a huge amount of positivity this week, like unbelievable amounts of just like, it's like, yeah, no, never mind. Don't need to worry
That's
about
kind of
that.
how it felt when I first got into the waiting room.
There's a weirdness
Yeah.
that, because I don't, here's the thing, Lisa, and that's why I kind of giggled when you said you feel like you're back in the construct in a bubble, because I sat there at one point in time this weekend and went, I'm not in the waiting room anymore. I'm somewhere else now. And I don't know where that somewhere else is. I can't define it. But your analogy of kind of like being within a bubble is probably about as close as I could come to that, of like, because like I said, everything close to me is all very nicely contained here, but everything that's external is so external. It's just out there.
I still feel like I'm alone in my space. There isn't anything in my bubble with me. No, and I actually had to.
Yeah, it's not real outside the bubble. Exactly. The bubble, everything external of the bubble is just not fucking real.
Because of the headache yesterday.
I do feel like we're in a holding place right now, though, Lise.
What?
Sorry, hon, I didn't hear you. Couldn't hear you. I didn't hear what you just said.
Because of my headache yesterday, I went through a process of checks and balances, right? And one of the things I did was check my personal energy, my field, all that stuff. And okay, so this is actually contradictory to what I just said. When I say I'm alone in it, nobody in my life is in it with me. Like it's not like my family are in here and my kids are. No, it's personal and on my own in that sense. But now I don't feel like I'm alone either. But it's not. It's not other people. I don't know what it is. There's a presence that wasn't there in the waiting room behind me. It feels like it's behind me. And it doesn't feel negative or anything like that. But there's something there. Is anybody else getting that?
The other thing that I got really strongly this weekend was this feeling of a pause. Again. Pardon me. Choke on my coffee. Just feels like a pause at the moment. Like that. Like I said, the difference between the inhale and the exhale, when you inhale, and then there's that moment where everything pauses before the exhale comes. I feel like that's we're sitting in this place of a pause. Like a whole bunch of new shit came in this week. However we want to define it, whether it's merging timelines and there's like a pause. But I have a feeling that in the next week or so, all of a sudden it's going to go again.
In a way, this whole February-March time frame feels like a bit of a pause. Or it's a pause, and this event or this energy that I can see coming, it could just be a pause up to that point, but I still can't see past the end of March. That energy hasn't really moved. It's still sitting over March. But it's not a pause in here. It's not a pause in my bubble. I'm not feeling that. I'm feeling like this is it's in the process of change. And I don't know what it's changing into yet. Like it hasn't taken its next shape or form yet. It
hasn't taken form.
It's in the process of change. And I actually feel like that might be an ongoing process. That might be actually what it looks like now. I might be waiting for it to take shape, but it's not going to. It's actually constantly in flux. That's the new, that is the new thing. Because it's like, oh, wow, okay. It's like, but you know when you see a bubble and it's in the sunlight and you see the colours and the swirls and everything go through the bubble, the detergents and all that sort of just doing that?
Yep.
It's like that. It's like it's constantly doing this and morphing and changing. So waiting for it to take its next sort of static form, it may not. I don't know. What's soon, Blair? Everyone waking up. That'd be nice.
That's still my number one intent all the time. Like, that's just such a focus for me of just that. Wake up. Remember, wake up.
Remember actually feels more important than wake up in some ways.
The remember is my own, but the wake up is the kind of, if you can imagine sending energy out into the world, so to speak, that's the wake up. Because I have a feeling, like everyone said, like there's a lot of people waking up right now, and some of the shit that we keep seeing in the mainstream, in the alternative media, the transparency that's coming out is waking up a lot of people right now, if they can break through their own programming. And that to me is really, really huge. And that's kind of my message out into the world, just that whole wake up. Just wake up.
I mean, which is why I think we're getting bombarded with all the information and disclosure and whistleblowers and all that. We are, because it's like we're all heading for the exit, and all they want to do is get us to turn around and look behind us at where we've been. I don't care where we've been, because I've been there. I don't need to go over it again. I don't need to rehash it. I don't need to figure it out anymore. I don't need to. No, I've got no questions about where I've been or what's behind me. I've only got questions about where I'm going. And I mean, oh God, the who am I, where did I come from, how did I end up here business, they were my questions for as long as I can remember. And as far as I'm concerned, that stuff can wait. Because I want to know where I'm going and where the exit is. And when I get out of here, then I'll hear that story. But everything that is coming out right now is to get us to turn around and look back where you've been, understand it all. And there is the argument that you don't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been, kind of thing. And when it comes to this, I don't necessarily feel that applies.
But that's it. Everyone has their own way of cycling through information, right? Everyone has their own way of seeking forward and their own way of figuring out their path and seeing what's going on in front of them. And for me, I am the question asker, and I always have been my entire life.
Yeah. And
it's by asking the questions of what happened last week that gives me the understanding of what's coming tomorrow. But everyone works on a different level.
Yeah. For me,
everyone has different ways of seeing. Yeah.
For me, we've never been here before. This feels brand new. So I don't know if there is any clues or if you can apply that's where we've been, so this is where we're going anymore. It's changed. It used to, for me anyway, I mean, it used to be like that, sure. We can see the pattern, we've seen the thing play out, we've seen the script play out, we know where this goes. But now I feel like we're off script and we're in brand new territory, and in some respects, not making this up as we go along, because I actually think we already did the work, but we're playing this out in a way that we've kept it a secret from ourselves. Yes, we're being unpredictable. And so I don't know whether that still applies in this space. Does that make sense?
It does to me, because even the little pieces that we pick up about last week, those are little tiny pieces. The way people felt, the things they saw in dream time, their emotional responses, physical responses, except to me, those are all little pieces of the puzzle that allow me to gather up information in my own head and to look forward.
People's personal experiences.
Sorry, Hen, say again? You've just cut out then for a second.
Are you talking about people's personal experiences?
Yeah, things that they've seen, we've discussed it in the Unfuckers room, various dreams that people have had, various, some of these incredible fucking Mandela effects, personal Mandela effects that are happening in people's lives.
Yeah, to me, they're real-time markers of.
Exactly. Of like, oh, well, isn't that really, really interesting? And we look at, especially when they all come together in groupings, which is what we always see.
Well, I think to some degree, a lot of that's already happened, Mel. What's next?
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't think we have. We're kind of like double agents, it feels like, in a way. I don't know.
Okay, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, no. I think we're keeping a lot of it from ourselves, because there is a 0 point, there is a no time, and over the last God knows how many years, people have been going into that space to do the work. Out of sight, out of detection.
Out of time
to do the work. And we've kept those things secret from ourselves. And what we're watching is these things just drop into like TikTok time. That's how I see it. The work was done out of time, and now the effects are dropping into TikTok time. And we seem to be playing out in the physical right now the work that we've already done energetically.
Yeah. Did we talk about this last week? About linear time? Or was that the interview with Randy? Because we did the interview with Randy and Emily on Off Planet Radio, and then we had the show 2 days afterwards. I can't keep straight in my head now what we talked about on the show versus what we talked about on Off Planet Radio.
Had a,
time is a construct. Linear time is a construct.
It was bare minerals, but I don't know.
Someone's talking.
That exists in another
If you're somebody who knows you've done the energetic work over the years and you remember it, have a look at what's playing out now. Have a look at the sequence of events and see if it's playing out physically. Is that, even if you take what you saw energetically and what you did energetically as the metaphor for what you're seeing now.
Well, I mean, how much work did we do on transparency back in 2013? That was, in some ways, in 2013, some of the major shit that we worked on energetically was transparency. Make everything transparent, completely transparent. And now, I mean, we're seeing that. We're seeing it everywhere we look. Media, alternative media, politicians. It's all playing out.
Oh, Okay, there's one other thing. We've only got a few minutes left, so this is just kind of funny and a funny observation, a weird and wonderful observation. And I asked the question in the UU room, has anybody's relationship, physical relationship to water changed? And I didn't say what was going on.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I want to talk about that.
I didn't say what was going on with me at all. I just asked the question. And I got the answers that are the same. So what's going on with me is I'm bobbing like a cork. I cannot, not only can I not
You can't sing.
I can't, not only can I not sink, I can't actually get to the bottom of the pool at all, right? I am swimming against something and I can't get to the bottom of the pool. And I don't sink, sit there like a bobbing cork. I can't put my head underwater anymore because I can't seem to stop the water from filling my head. And the pressure, I go like a foot under the water, which I have to use the steps in the pool to push myself like this to do. And it feels like I'm like 10 meters down. The pressure is intense. And I had all of those things as answers. So it's something's going on with the water or our relationship to water. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been in the bath and had my head under the water over the years and had kids yelling out for me and I can't hear a thing. Can't hear a thing. I'm in the pool, Olympic-sized swimming pool, and Phoenix is down the other end and calls out to me while I'm playing with this, trying to see what's going on. I've got my head underwater and I can hear her. In a crowded pool, I can hear her clear as day. So it's carrying sound better.
Well, finally you said that about the sound, because you and I discussed the whole buoyancy and the pressure, et cetera, because that's what I was experiencing when I was swimming in October, right? Is that couldn't sink. The pressure when you dive into the water feels like I was diving at 30 feet, not, 6 feet type thing. But the sound carrying, I was in the bath the other day. I was doing I just laid back and washed my hair in the bath. So I'm laying there with my head in the water. So, just literally just like this much kind of out of the water. And the noise, and all I could think of was like, fuck, I can't even find peace and quiet underwater in the bath. And there was the kids in the other side of the apartment. I was just like, wow, I can't not even submerge myself in water to escape from the noise. Damn it.
I know Dawn's bobbing like a cork as well. And I don't know what's going on with that, but just if you're in a position where you can go for a swim, test it out. Yeah, someone joked that I was learning to levitate.
Learn to levitate using the water. Water levitation.
I did try. I actually did, once they put that to me, I played in the water and I tried to raise myself up even further out of the water because I can't go down here.
Yeah.
I can't go past my chin, right?
Yeah.
And everyone around me, because I'm testing this. I've been testing this for weeks after observing it the first time. We're doing things like holding onto the edge of the pool. Everybody lets go at once. Everybody around me just goes boom, like a stone, and I'm just sitting there. And this is with your arms and legs, arms and legs straight, totally vertical, just bobbing like a cork. And I'm like, even so at first it was put down to it's muscle mass and you just haven't got any muscle. But yeah,
you just have no muscle. Yeah, that's what it is.
But no, that's not it. It's not weight because Phoenix drops like a rock next to me.
Yeah.
And I literally need help to get to the bottom of a 2-meter pool. This is like 2 feet above my head. So I don't know what's going on.
Water keeps coming up. Water just keeps coming up for me over and over and over again, not just in the discussions that we have here talking about water, but
Bubbles float. Yeah.
Just seems to be a theme that keeps going. And water is a very, as much as we take it for granted, if anyone knows science and physics, water is unique. It's one of the most unique things that we have anywhere because of its abilities and its capabilities. Water is a pretty amazing thing when you start looking into the physics of water. So I don't know. There's a lot of it, and we are water. Like, I used to say the meat suits, right? We used to talk about, you're a soul in a meat suit type thing. Consciousness
You're really
is
a
in a
water
meat suit.
sack.
And my girlfriend Nicole was like, no, I'm not a meat suit. I'm a water sack. And because you are, that's how much water. So if we're talking about intent and we're talking about water and we're talking about the abilities of water, all of that is a mirror into ourselves. We ourselves are water. So anything that we can do with water, i.e. setting an intent, the emotos, water crystals, etc., we can do for ourselves.
Okay, I've got two things.
And when I see some of the stuff coming up with water, it just keeps coming back and coming back. Water is a very, very major piece to this.
For those of you who looked into Emoto's work, like really looked into it, can you tell me now or go and have a look? Because when you looked at the crystals, they all took on the sacred geometric shapes. All right, they all fit into that. What is happening now different? Have the shapes changed?
Now, we did discuss this in the Unfuckers room. Someone was posted a pile of information on that a few months ago, that the water crystal shapes had changed. I can't remember. That was months ago.
If that's verifiable, then that to me is more evidence that the tech is breaking down or broken down or gone or whatever, because it was all based on sacred geometry. So if people are still doing that work and freezing the crystals, I'd like to know what shapes they're taking on now. I'd like to know if the photographs of the old shapes are changing.
Yep.
So that was that. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Damn it. Oh, okay, talking about this veil process that we were talking about last week. Donna and I have been talking about whether or not there's going to be an element of the elements to this as well. Because if, you know how you and I were saying...
Fire and water?
Yeah. So I said last week that for me, it felt very much like these veils needed to be experienced in sequential order. So just like the layers of the construct were put on, I feel like these layers or these veils were put on us in a particular order, and we're working our way back. And we're going backwards through them. So the very last layer or veil would have been the one that completely put you to sleep. And that didn't take for everyone. Right? Mm. So there's those of you who, yes, we're working on a map. So for those of you who know, you were just born knowing that you got off on the wrong bus and that something is terribly wrong. So for you guys, the last layer didn't take, or the last veil didn't take. For those who it did, they needed the trigger, that first trigger, whether it was 9/11 or going to court or losing your house or your kids or whatever it was, it's your trigger. That's veil number one, to make you realize that shit isn't exactly as you were told. And then we're working back through these veils. The very first ones that would have been put on, I would think, to connect us to the construct would be those that we would connect with earth, the elements, right? And looking at whether or not that applies, and can we look at our experiences, well, for me, since 2009, and go, have I been through anything that would equate to these? And I would have to say yes, possibly been through fire already, as have others who have had those unexplainable, not sick, fevers. You know, when you've had them, where you just burn up, sometimes for days on end, and you feel like shit, and yet you know fundamentally it feels like a burning off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on a physical level, but it also seems to coincide with a burning off of emotional and programs and stuff like that. So we may well have gone through fire already. The earth one, we may also have gone through, if you've been one of those people who was very, very connected to Mother Earth and all of that, and have gone through a process of disconnecting from that. That may well have been the earth one. And air, water, ether. I'd say definitely gone through water one recently. Relationship to water has changed. Everything was water for me for weeks. I felt like I was walking through water, and then the membrane. Is air somehow being symbolized by all the dragons? I don't know. Or something else?
Everyone being sick with the coughing that they've been doing. I mean, that's been one of the kind of continuing things for the last 3-4 months, is everyone having coughs, and they can't, I mean, could we look at that as something to do with air? Because that's the expelling of air.
The mucus, I think the mucus expulsion is going to be a continuous part of all of this. I don't think we can associate the one veil. I think that's just the whole process.
My Zoom is doing weird fucking shit. I've unmuted myself somehow, but wow.
I'm going to have to move it all again. Someone's mic is making a horrible noise.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
And there's been quite a few people who have healed from things like asthma.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. When I'm talking about coughing, etc., I'm not talking about the expelling of the mucus. I mean, people who just started coughing. Not expelling anything, and it's not that dry cough. It's just a cough.
So have a think about that, whether or not you can relate to any of those periods, or maybe it was a spate of dreams that you dreamt about bushfires, or you dreamt about volcanoes, and that would be the other way that the whole fire thing. I mean, volcanoes.
The water dream. The water dreams have been a big one. The fire dreams have been a big one.
And we've actually seen it play out with volcanoes, as I said, earthquakes, floods.
Yeah.
Sorry, somebody's mic keeps unmuting all the time, and it's really noisy. But do my best to stay on it. Can anyone? I haven't had a chance to look at the chat. Is anyone relating to what I'm saying here? Does anyone feel like they've been through that process? Yes, yes. Yes? Okay. Is that you typing, Dee, or someone else?
Yeah, it's me.
All right. We almost did 2 hours. 5 minutes short. But sorry for the late start. And you're frozen again, Dee, so now sounds like a good time to call it.
Am I back?
You're back.
Yeah, my Zoom's doing weird fucking shit again. I don't know. My computer said some bizarre fucking techie issues this week that have been like, what the fuck?
See you guys next week.
Yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye,
Bye for now.
everyone.